Hi, hello. Uh, we're going to talk today about polynomials and if it is needed to know about polynomials. Okay, I'm going to show you in this presentation what is a polynomial, something about the degree of a polynomial, and finally, I'm going to tell you some things about that is going to help you to understand if it is needed to know about polynomials. So let's start. Okay, what is a polynomial? What is a polynomial? Move this both here. Okay, what is a polynomial? You will see, okay, why we have boats and planes here. Okay, what is a polynomial? When did you imagine the next thing? We have a situation, or we have a problem in which we need to determine the volume of 3 planes and 2 boats. The planes are same size, boats are the same size, but we have to determine the volume of 3 planes and 2 boats. Okay, so we hired somebody that is going to tell us how to determine using dimensions, using a formula, the volume of the plane, and using a formula, the volume of the boat. Okay, and maybe there will be something that can it be the same, like a distance or something like that, and then the guy is going to tell us, okay, this distance is calling x, and then he used the formulas to determine the volume of everything, of the 3 planes and the 2 boats. Keep in mind this idea because the definition of polynomials is just this. So poly means many, so we have many, and nomial means terms. So polynomial means series of terms, many terms, joined together by addition or subtraction. So we're adding or subtracting. So now you can notice that when I'm talking about terms here, I'm referring to 3 planes, this is one term, and 2 boats, this is the other term. And as we're calculating the volume we're adding, we have a polynomial. Many terms joined by addition or subtraction. But for example, we have monomials. I mean, one term. Mono means one term. Is the monomial a polynomial? No, it's not, because it's one term. But we can talk about binomials. Binomial means 2 terms. Is the binomial a polynomial? Yes, it is. Many terms. Trinomial, 3 terms. So we have many terms. So this is what we have about polynomials. But what is a term? Because I'm talking about planes, boats, but this is not kind of math context. This is like some ideas in real life, but in math we have to take this term to understand what is a term. So what is a term for you? Okay, the term is just the multiplication of a number that we're going to call it coefficient and variables. So what is important here? The number, coefficient, and the variables. Okay, so let me show you examples. For example, we have terms. We have 3x. Okay, so we have a number 3 and a variable x multiplied. So this is a term. And what is the degree? X is to the first power, so the degree is 1. First degree. Let me show you the other example. 20xy to the third power. So we have a coefficient 20 and multiply it by some variables, x, y to the third power. So it means that we have a term. What is the degree of the term? So degree of the term is using the exponents of the equation. 3 is the exponent here, and x, so the exponent is 1, so the degree is 3 plus 1, 4 degree. Imagine that the degree is like the dimension of the term. In math is fantastic. It's not like physics in this stuff. Because in physics, or in the physics we know in high school, we have just 3 dimensions and time dimensions. We have 4 dimensions. But in math we can have more than 4 dimensions. Because for example, I can say that this is x to the second power, and we have third degree here and second degree here, so the degree is 5th degree of the term, more than 4. Notice? Pretty cool in math. So let me change here, degree 5. And when we have a constant, a number, just 35, you just have to remember that 35 is the same as 35 times x to the 0th power. 0th property of exponents. So then the degree is just 0. Okay? And let me show you examples of polynomials. So what is a polynomial? Many terms joined by addition or subtraction. So for example, if I wrote 3x plus 20xy third minus 35, I have many terms joined by addition and subtraction, so I have a polynomial. Easy to understand. Really? Now, we have seen examples of polynomials. But what is the degree of a polynomial? I have talked to you about the degree of a monomial. That is one term. But what is the degree of a polynomial? We have many monomials added. So it's easy. It's the highest degree of the monomials that are added, of the monomial. Okay, it's the highest degree of the monomial I don't like this definition. I'm gonna change it. That is part of the polynomial. Okay? If you don't like the way I define things, so you can go to a book and find the definition. But what is the idea? The idea is that the degree of a polynomial is the highest degree of the monomial that you have in the polynomial. So let's see with examples. For example, determine the degree of the polynomial 3x plus 20x y third minus 35. Degree of 3x, 1. 20x y cubed, 3 here plus 1 fourth. And here is 0th power. So which is the highest? 4 is 4 degree. You can organize the polynomial by degree, that is calling the standard form, because it's easier because you're counting by degree. So we can move this 20 here because it's highest degree, then 1, then 0, and we have the standard form. So we're counting by degree. 0, 1, there's no 2, there's no 3, 4th. Example number 2. In the thing of the standard form of a polynomial is highly used when you have polynomials with just one variable. In fact, when we have many variables, usually it's better to organize the polynomial using one variable, the highest degree for one variable, rather than by degree. Yeah, but it's better that you practice that by using exercises. Now, for example, 4x to the fifth power minus 2x plus 15x squared minus 20. So we have to organize it. Fifth power, first power, second power, and zeroth power. So what is the degree? The highest. Fifth. So we have a fifth degree in the polynomial. And then we want to organize it in a standard form. So in a standard form will be fifth power, the highest, then 4, there's no fourth power, 3, there's no third power, 2, second power, 1, first power, and 0. Okay? So sometimes for some types of exercises we can add the fourth and the third degree of the polynomial. How? Using 0. 0 times x to the fourth power plus 0 times x to the third power. Okay, and we're counting 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 degree. Okay, so this is for some cases. Sometimes in addition we can use it, sometimes in division is used. So it's better that you know it right now, that 0 is excellent for that. And this is the way you organize polynomials in a standard form, and you have examples of the degree of a polynomial. Okay, but the mainly question is, why do mathematicians use polynomials? Why? Why mathematicians use polynomials? I showed you something using the planes and the boats, that it was one of the first ideas that people took to use polynomials. But let me tell you my experience. It happened to me when we were finding percents that they asked us to determine the 40% of 20. So I had to do a proportion and stuff and many things to have that it was 40 divided 100 times, I forgot to tell you, 40% of 20. Okay, if I forgot the number, so let me say that is a 40% of 20. Okay, 40% of 20. So I have 40% of 20. And then the teacher asked us to find the 20% of 30. So I need to use 30 here and 20 here. But I had to do the entire proportion. After doing this many times, I have noticed that it was like I'm doing the same process to have the same answer. So why, instead of that, I don't use p here and n here? N is the number, p is the percentage that is asked, and I just have to use this formula to determine the 40% of something or the percent of a number. And when I start studying algebra, I have noticed that this is just a monomial. 1 divided 100 times Pn. So instead of working the same process many times, I just have to do the process once and then have a monomial. Now imagine what happens if the teacher asks you, in this case of percent, to determine the 20% of 20 plus 3% of 5. So we can change this in terms of a polynomial and do the process once, and then you have the same information. You just have to change the numbers here. And this can be used, can be computing by using a calculator or an Excel. So this is why I really enjoy algebra. because to me help us to make our life easier. We just do the process once and then we can use the monomial or the polynomial. This is why I like algebra. And I really think that mathematicians use polynomials because mathematicians are lazy. We are lazy. And as we are lazy, we just want to do the process once. And after the process, use algebra to write the process in terms of monomials, binomials, trinomials, or polynomials. And then you just have your life easier in math. So thanks for watching. This is the information. Any comment and hint, just tell me, let me know how we can do better way to make you an excellent student in algebra or in math, in physics, in science, and I will be glad to help you. Goodbye.